Hey, ladies.
Hello, hello,
Hello,
hello.
hello. Wow, we are powering through. Powering, power. We are powering through our power series. Yes, with our heartbeats t-shirts on. Yes, yes, yes. Look at Shauna. Yes, love it. Wow, y'all. Look at this, ladies. Episode 61, The Power of Your Truth. Ooh. Definitely have a few thoughts on this one. Yes. So some of the things that when we were talking about this episode, and just a lot of times we go unscripted, but then sometimes we plan, right? I think there's value in both. So I wrote down speaking, owning, and living your truth. Those are like three words that just popped at top of mind when we were talking about this episode. So definitely want to get your ladies' thoughts, and I can't wait for our heartbeats and our listeners to weigh in. But what does the power of your truth mean to you?
Shauna?
I'm looking at Shauna.
For myself, it was a serious journey for me to actually know what my truth was. And a lot of that is because growing up and as children, someone else tells you what your truth is, right? And so you go along with that program for a while until you start feeling like disconnected. And then you start doing some inner work and whatever, however that means for you, whatever process you take. And then you start discovering things about yourself of like something someone said you did like, you're like, in essence, I really don't like that. I don't even know where that came from, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And so growing up, and we speak a lot about growth. We speak a lot about journaling. We speak a lot about doing these different activities to help you dig deep to get to the core essence of your truth. Once you've discovered your truth, it it's an overwhelming feeling from head to toe of really knowing who you are, really knowing how you want to move in your life, and really knowing what you're going to accept, what you're not going to accept, what's your non-negotiables. All of those things play a part and caters to your truth. Getting to your truth can be a little bit challenging, may take some time, but once you get there, it's a beautiful feeling. My first children's book I wrote is called My Mismatched Socks. And this story is about beating to your own drum, knowing who you are, and not allowing anyone to sway that from you. And this book was loosely written based on the true stories and accounts that my sister and I dealt with growing up, coming from a very diverse family. And the reason why socks was referenced was we did wear a lot of mismatched socks, and we did wear clothing in so many different ways that in my city of Cleveland at the time, everyone sort of kind of dressed alike. It was like kind of like cookie cutter. Like at this time of year, you use this, you don't wear white plus past September, you don't, it was that kind of stuff. And then growing up, we had the unique pleasure. Thank you, mommy. We had the unique pleasure of spending our summers in New York, Miami, and Puerto Rico. Mm. And with that, coupled with our diversity and just doing basically school time in Cleveland, allowed us for the creativity with fashion, how we wanted to wear our hair, our clothing, things of that nature. And although my sister and I went through a lot of ridicule, you know, you speak with an accent, why do you speak two languages? Or from my African American side, why is your hair like that? Or my Hispanic side, why is your hair not looser? You know, just all going through all of that kind of stuff. It was so much confusion because it was like I knew my truth, but I wasn't solid. Mm. So writing this book, and you know, I do a lot of inner child work. I'm known as the inner child whisperer. This story is a lot of people are like, why did you write this? And the number one reason was to heal my inner child and my sisters, because of just, even though we know our truth now and we've been living our truth for a long time, sometimes those scars kind of hang around a little bit, you know, and again, we talk about triggers and stuff like that. And somebody can say something that reminds you of a memory of somebody, you know, something that happened to you when you were younger. But my Mismatched Socks book speaks a lot to that. I facilitate workshops for adults based on the principles of this book, because I realize that a lot of adults struggle with their truth, because they haven't been able to unpack some things that may have occurred to them when they were children. And also just fostering and having that fun, loving relationship within yourself and knowing what your truth is. You used to be an artist. I used to love to draw. I used to color. I used to paint. I love clay. I played instruments. I used to love to gather people around, just reconnecting with the things that brought you joy. And so I just wanted to read one page on here in my book.
Sure. Yeah, we love it.
One of my favorite lines that I wrote was, "We are all unique in our own way," said Maria, which my middle name is Maria. I'm Shana Maria. And then like the sky is blue, stay true and be you, Dolores said loudly, which is my sister's middle name, Sabrina Dolores. The girls beamed proudly at each other. And I love the sky is blue, stay true and be you. The sky is always going to be blue. Okay, we may have some gray days, but for the most part, our sky is blue. That's the color of the sky. And stay true and be you. That's basically knowing your truth, sticking to your truth, being who you are, and carrying your life out as such. So that's what that means for me.
Yeah, I love that, Shauna. Great recap, great synopsis there. You brought out a lot of good points. I think one of the first points you brought out was people telling you what your truth is, wherever it starts, whether it's like you say, single digit age, or when you get up to your teens, early 20s, maybe people noticing something about you where they can instruct you and tell you, okay, this is what your truth is. And there are ways, like you mentioned, and there are lots of things to pull out for what you said. But I guess my biggest takeaway is, looking at ways to find your truth or to get it out there, whether it's through writing, whether it's through speaking. For me, I started a blog, later in life. So that was my way of, okay, I'm answering my inner male, my personal male, like, this is what it is. Like, I know my truth, despite what I may have been told, this is kind of where I am in my life. So there are ways to get that out. So maybe for other people, it's doing brain dumps, which Jeanette is excellent at, journaling, whatever it might be. I decided to start a blog because I wanted to have that all kind of in one place. And it was partly due to, my voice, wanting my voice to be heard. So that's where I say the power of your truth. Jeanette, you have some thoughts on this? We know you do.
Actually, I do. And I don't know why my thing is chiming when I have my computer on Do Not Disturb. I know.
There you go. That's that thought. That's that ding.
That sound.
Stop it. And hopefully it doesn't keep dinging. But what I was going to say, and what actually kind of to the point that you were talking about, Linda, is live, because a lot of us are either now or in the past living based on other people's expectations, or even some unrealistic expectations that we set for ourselves. So like for me, I like when I was young, like I think I was really allowed to be a kid, like for the most part, right? But I think what happened for me and the shift was at 16, I got pregnant and I had my daughter at 17. So then that kind of led me to like just become the person who I thought I was supposed to be as a mom. And it was like, okay, you got a kid, you got to take care of this child. Because my mom, my dad were, of course, devastated at the same time and a little disappointed, but they always were very, very helpful. Like they helped pay for her daycare while I was still in high school. But my mom was very adamant, this is your child and you will raise her. When people are like, oh, you just need to let her, because I was an honor student. I was like, you can let her go to college, you take care of that baby. My mom was like, no, that is her baby. And she's going to have to figure out what she needs to do for herself and her life going forward. This was her decision. I'm not going to clean up her stuff for her. The only time she considered taking her was like keeping her for a short period of time was when I was considering going into the military. And so of course she would have kept her through basic and stuff for him. But after that, she was like, it's your child. Here she comes. She's coming back to you. But for me, as I got older and as my oldest daughter was getting towards her end of her like academic, like like elementary, middle school, high school, and moving towards college, I had to really start thinking like, okay, who am I going to be? you know, like, because she's going to be gone, and then now who are you? Because now you don't have all these other things holding you to like this standard that you that you thought you were supposed to uphold. But then I ended up having more kids, and then that's when I had to tell myself, like, are you going to wait until these kids get out of school to then start living your life and being who you want to be? And I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm going to be who I want to be in conjunction with raising my kids to be who they need to be, because I think it's just going to help them. In some ways, I feel like my oldest daughter, like, we grew up together, but she has a lot of the me that I was when she was younger in her, and like as a single mom, and like that very, very strong work ethic, and everything has to be this way, and it's a little rigid. But where my younger kids are a little more like free spirited, and you know, they're dreaming about non-traditional ways of earning a living when they get older. And so I'm like kind of not trying to reverse it, but just trying to encourage my oldest daughter, now that I'm older and doing this work, to do the work now. Mm-hmm. Give yourself grace, follow your passions, chase your dreams, do the things that make you feel good, but don't you know, like, don't just settle, like, because you feel like this is what you have to do, and you don't have to live and meet other people's expectations. You only owe it to yourself to be happy.
Right.
You don't, you know what I'm saying? Put your happiness first. If you're, Glennon Doyle says it in her book, Untamed, like, if you're going to let anybody down, it better not be yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. That's right. Great book too. Great books, I should say that.
Right.
Yes. Her and Brene Brown. Love both of them. Yeah, awesome. Speaking your truth. So we talked about like speaking it, I guess maybe getting your voice out there, but also owning it. I think we have an episode, what our first episode of the season,
Owning
right?
Your Power.
Owning Your Power. I love that one. I love that we kicked off the season with that too, because it, you know, owning your power is, I think all of the subsequent episodes, it all starts at the root. So we've had, you know, the power of silence, which was the episode before this one. We've had the power of slowing down and all of the things there, but all of that builds to your truth. And so I look at this as like building blocks. I think we were very thoughtful and very intentional about how we wanted to come across here and doing this work. And I think we joked about it in the beginning. Oh, Shauna, she wants everything to be power. When Jeanette was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I knew exactly what she was doing. I was like, yes, that's going to be theme.
Your tribe gives you this gift. Now we have gift exchanges. We feel good about this season. I'll be honest with you. This is my favorite season.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
This is my favorite season.
Yes. Great. I agree. And I think like, and I don't know if our heartbeats have noticed, but just how the episodes build upon each other. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, oh, the power of this and that. But really, it goes back to episode 1. It's owning your power. And all of these things that we're talking about, truth, silence, your words, surrender, flowing with ease, gratitude, all of these things, gratitude, all these things is going to help you live your truth, right? To be yourself wholly without, again, living up to other people's expectations, but really figuring out who you are, who you want to be, and how you want to show up for yourself and for the world, and to live out your own personal purpose. Because we all are here for a reason, and no one's purpose looks the exact same as someone else's. Your purposes may run in conjunction with each other for a greater purpose, but your sole purpose and the way you were supposed to show up does not have to look like how someone else is showing up. And if I can teach my kids anything, it's just like, you know, be yourself and figure out what that looks like for you. But also,
there's room for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. It is
for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And part of it, I feel, is just accepting your own imperfections and knowing that stuff is not perfect. Life is not perfect. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is because if they aren't living this cookie cutter type life and not doing everything perfect, the people are going to see who they really are. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But, and I think you might have read this book. I haven't read it yet. I actually just got it on my Kindle. I think I got it on my Kindle or Audible. One of them is The Gifts of Imperfection by Renee Brown.
Yes.
I haven't read it, but I know some of her other books I read kind of touch on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But just in the title itself, like,
yeah,
just the gift of knowing like things don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to be perfect. I don't live with regrets. Everything that I've been through and every person that I tried to be led me to where I am now, because then you realize like, oh, this don't work for me. This is not who I want to be.
Yeah. I could say I tried it. It's not a good space to be in because you feel like you're trying so hard to be perfect. I have this cookie cutter life and different things. Other people project that on you. I keep going back to that because that was what Shauna mentioned at the top of the episode, how that is sometimes projected on you. And I don't have to have that life. I know if I'm happy with what I'm doing, what my life is about, and I'm comfortable, we're safe, we're happy, all of those things. I don't have to have this cookie cutter supposed, but I come from an area where that is the case a lot of times. Here where I live, it's like, okay, you have to have this. If you don't have that, and you're not this. But I tend to, surprisingly for me, I've gone against the grain in some of those, in some of those projections. And I've been pretty proud of that because I feel like I'm happier. I don't have to do these things that people are projecting, the whole white picket fence, the cookie cutter life, and all the things. But I think we have a great life, and whatever that looks like, I just feel like a lot of that is, sometimes it's regional, sometimes it's where you live, sometimes it's who you're around. But it's like, no, it just didn't feel good on the inside.
I speak a lot about how I disliked being pioneer in so many facets since I was a kid, and have come to embrace being a pioneer. And like you said, stepping outside of the circle of what everybody else is doing and walking and beating your own tune, even if you stick out like a sore thumb. I've been called a lot of different names growing up because I don't agree or fit with the norms, your social norms that's around you, whether it's in your family, friends, circles, or just what's happening in the world. And that you're closer to your truth when you do that than you are, than you even know sometimes. And you get penalized for knowing who you are, and knowing what your truth is ridiculous. At the same time, I'm very grateful that we are trailblazers, the three of us in our own right. And we personally know many of our heartbeats, and they are the same. They're living their truth or striving to get closer to their truth. They're doing the inner work. And I'm very grateful that we beat to our own tune, even as a podcast of women of color. We don't regret what we say on here. We don't regret how we put anything together. We don't compare ourselves with any other platforms or any other groups of people. We stick to what we feel the Heart of Chat is and what that means for us. And I just want to say I'm just really grateful to be a part of the Heart of Chat when it comes to that.
Yep, I agree completely. And when you own when you're owning your own truth or living your truth, it allows you to also accept others' truth, right? Accept other people for who they are and how they show up. Because a lot of times, and I'm sure this episode we talked about this, but a lot of times when you are feeling some type of way towards how someone else is showing up, it's because it's a mirror back on yourself of how you're not showing up for yourself. Like, how dare her have fun and be happy or be silly and goofy? No, don't you know we need to be serious? Like, this is serious. Like, no, you are, but I'm not, but you wish you could do what I do and show up in that way, but you're holding yourself back. And so I feel like when we are living in our own truth and allowing ourselves to, live the life that we desire, then it allows us to accept other people when they show up as their whole self.
Yeah, that's true. I love the acceptance piece. Yeah, allowing people to be who they are and not trying to change them and say, oh, you should be doing this, or why are you in this space in your life? Just some of the questions. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff I get asked sometimes. I'm like, really? I just like, I don't get it as much as I used to, because I think I'm walking in my purpose more now. So kind of that stuff just bounces off. It's like, oh, okay, ooh, I can't come at her like that, because she's going to come back at me, and she's living her best life and happy and her purpose and different things. So sometimes it's just funny to me. It's like, oh, okay, well, why aren't you married again? And different things like that, because I don't want to be married again. I'm good. I'm happy. So yeah, I got asked that a few weeks ago. I was just like, what? It's just, it's like, yeah, I'm good. So it's just what it is,
Yeah.
And yeah.
At the peak with this. So when I loved what Jeanette said, you know your truth, you're living your truth, you're able to accept other people's truth, because you don't want nobody, like Linda said earlier, projecting on you. So you definitely, you're going to do unto others as you want them to do unto you when you reach point, right, in your life. And then the peak of it all is the part that I am flourishing at right now. And I've mentioned before, I feel like a butterfly right now, and I'm emerging and coming out of, is now I'm living my truth unapologetically. That's a piece that I have been struggling with, because I always felt like I had to give somebody reasons why I like things a certain way, or da 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 da. And to be at a space now where it's not like I don't give a doggone about you, or anything flying crap, or all the words that we use.
Right.
Kind of, it's not on that level where you're angry and you're bitter about having to prove your truth or show I got my truth or whatever. It's a level of serenity for yourself, and going to sleep at night and not being concerned about what somebody else thinks about your truth, and just living it unapologetically, and allowing them to sit with themselves and their own issues, and their issues is not yours, it's not personal. And I believe that my year long of reflections that I do on social media, my reflections campaign, Jeanette and I was working on, I swear to y'all, this is going to be my last website. So this is my
from her mouth to God's ear.
I know. How many websites have you had, Shauna? This is third, right? Yeah.
Three times a charm, right?
Actually fourth, because if you think of it, the first one was me moving you from WordPress.
Oh, that's right. That's when you first got started. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the finale. And it's simple, classy, elegant, to the point. It has all of the zone of geniuses that I do, speaking from the inner child work, from grief work as a spouse, to motivational speaking, to facilitating workshops, all of the things. And we had a meeting, and we were talking about my reflection series, because I wanted to be able to add that piece to the website some kind of way. And it was interesting. And I shared with her how I really enjoyed my last video. And it was the week of, if you want to reflect to it, anyone, it's the week of like December 9th and 10th. So you can see it on my Instagram or my Facebook. And I really, really saw this butterfly that I was talking about. And I was so unapologetically myself on that video, and very outgoing, and this is who I am, take it or leave it, but not in a bad way. It was humble, classy, elegant, all the things that I want my brand to represent, right? And so she pulled up, she said, well, let's just see how much you've changed, because there's some things we need to change on this website now to reflect who you are now. And I just feel like you constantly changing. This is what happens when you have a meditative life of yourself inner work. You don't stand still. I mean, it's down to, like, I was joking with my Heart Test sisters, my hair has been resisting to be straight the last couple of months, and it just wants to be twirled, it wants to be wavy, it wants to do its thing. And I remember one day I came on and I was in the mirror and I was doing Marco Polo, and I had a curl that just was like, doing its own thing. And Jeanette came on and said, just let it do its own thing. Let that curl, leave that curl be. You know? I was laughing so hard. I was like, she's right. Just leave it alone. You know, you're evolving and, you know, and all of the things. So she showed me the video, my very first reflection video in January. And then we looked at the reflection video from December 9th. And when I tell you it's like 360, my first video was like, I'm here. I know my work is important, but I'm a little unsure of how you're going to feel about that. And I'm taking up space in your time. And thank you so much. That was kind of like that.
And it was the, if you want to come back and listen, if you want to, and it's like, no, I'm here. Y'all need to show up for yourselves too. Right. So from my vantage point looking in, that's exactly what I saw, LaShawna. Like that first video was very much trying to be what you thought a person showing up on video on Instagram was supposed to look like, and what you thought people want you to you know what I'm saying, how, like, what's going to make the best impression, and people are going to like this, you know, but I want to also be taken seriously. I want people to know I know what I'm talking about, but you can be fun and lighthearted and still know exactly what the hell you're talking about. Right. And then fast forward to the last video that she had did, and I told her, I said, even your posture, like you was leaning in versus just Linda. She was like, oh, she was holding her hands like this in the first video. Yeah, and I was like, that's what they teach. That ain't even the woman that I know on a regular basis. Like, who is this woman? And and I didn't even say it then, even down to what she had on.
Jeanette, you said you're not fuego baby there.
Oh yeah,
not fuego baby.
Oh, yeah, that is not fuego baby. Yeah, even down to what she had on, and it looked like she was headed out to a corporate interview. Like I was like, that is not. And the other one, she was like, you know, like just her whole energy, like the woman that we know was showing up, and it was just good to see the difference, and for her to be able to see it as well. Because sometimes we don't want to look back, we don't want to look at it. Just want to keep moving. And I know you like really grown a lot, and it was what you said to you when she looked at it. It was like, she's like, it's your confidence. Point blank, period. It's your confidence in who you are and what you know to be true about yourself, and the knowledge and the information that you have to provide to people.
They asked me, Linda, what do you think? What's the difference for you? I said, I finally believe my own shit.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. Yep.
I finally believe in my work all the way through, and that is that important to the point where you want to get with me. You want to get with Shauna Hibbets, you know, let's get on this journey together. We don't, you know, you want to be with me. Let's do this together. So I finally head to toe, you know, wholeheartedly believe in my own shit.
And that's the key, right? To living in the power of like your own truth is believing it, right? Because if you don't believe it, ain't nobody else going to believe it. You can think you showing up, you can try to show up and be the person that you want to be, but if you don't believe it, everybody else is going to see right through it.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes these different platforms also show you, oh, you should do this, and why don't you come on? You have to have this jacket on, and you have to do these things, or or else you're not going to get 10,000 followers. You know, you have to be doing. I'm like, I don't care about that. Y'all see how many times I post. I think I post mostly over on the Heart of Chat. I mean, my stuff, like, okay, yeah, I'm going to show up as my crazy, goofy, sexy self, as Stanley reminds me of. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to show up because I got caught up in that too. You know, just coming on where I'm this person that helps you get your book out there. But I didn't feel like I could be my crazy sort of quirkiness. But that's what people like. They want to see that, you know. So. Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from as far as how you showed up first.
My bad. In the beginning, I had the mirror with the S on it, and I couldn't believe I said this, but it's something that I would say to my friends. So I was like, just say it, Shauna. So I was like, I got my mirror with the letter S on it for Supersonic Shauna. You know, it's something that I would say to my friends, and how I feel about myself is true to me, you know. And so I just went ahead and just, you know, I went with it. But yeah, the truth is, everyone's truth is different. You respect everybody's truth, but you gotta stay true to your own, and you know, make sure you stick by it, and you rely on your Your intuition will tell you everything.
Mhm.
We just left the episode of the power of, being silent and slowing down.
Yes.
And those two episodes, the tips that we discussed in there will allow you the time and the space to lead you to your absolute truth, because it's all about your intuition, or if you want to call it your gut feelings. You know what's best for you. Your whole body will tell you. Your body will do all kinds of crazy things if you're not living your truth. If you are comparing yourself with somebody else, if you on some other path, your body is going to say, going to do something, whether it shows up in a pimple on your face or just, for me, I get these things in the pit of my stomach when something's not right, or it's not something for me,
Right.
My body speaks to me in different ways. And if you're in tune to your body, you will definitely know if you're on the right path or not. Because I know some listeners or heartbeats are listening and they're like, how do you know it's your truth? So ladies, let's go around that. Linda, how do you know that you've reached your truth?
Yeah, for me, I think it resonates internally. Like you talk about the butterflies in your stomach. I get that anxious feeling right here when I know it's not, if I can, smile about it, if I can speak to it well and just be joyful, I think, about what I'm putting out there, then I know that's my truth. And whether somebody says, oh, I don't like that, I'm not intimidated by what somebody is saying to me about what I know my truth is.
What about you, Miss Jeanette?
I guess it depends on the situation, right? So for me, like when in situations where like I'm asked to do something that I just really don't want to do, it shows up in like procrastination, because I'm like, or resentment. It shows up in resentment. I'm like, I just don't want to do this. Like, why did I even say yes to this? Like, it's just all those feelings, like Linda said, it's just like they start pouring out of you in different kind of ways. And so, yeah, I'm not as creative when I'm not living my truth. Like, I just can't, like, I'm like, I just don't know why this is just not coming to me. It's like, because you're trying to come at it in a way that is not true to who you are. And so, yeah, it depends on the situation, but in that scenario, I would say, when I've said yes to something that I shouldn't have, it shows up in like procrastination and resentment and frustration. And then I'm just like, forget it. I'm about to go watch some TV and just act like I ain't gonna do it. Act like I don't have to do this activity here. What about you?
Liking that. We are so alike in that. I love that what you do for the Heart of Chat. One of the things that Jeanette does for the Heart of Chat is like, we'll come up with, we heartbeats, we have like a million ideas of what we want to do with the Heart of Chat. And sometimes I can get to like, I want to do all million of them today. I just I just be so excited, and I could just see it. I feel it. I'm there. Like, I am immediately thrust on the carpet. I'm immediately thrust on the, all these different ideas that we have for the Heart of Chat's future. And what I love about Jeanette, one of the names that I've given her a while back is Bullseye, because she has this unique ability of just hitting the target and hitting the mark. And it has a lot to do with the time of year we were born, because the Sagittarius, they're the archers, and bow and arrow. And so what I like that she does for the Heart of Chat is, if we undertake something, we think it through and make sure the energy level is there, the resources are there, we're able to do it. But one of the things that, Linda, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like Jeanette started this saying, we're going to do it. It's going to be the Heart of Chat way.
Yeah. Yep.
Agreed. She collectively ties us up in a bow. Like, it's going to be our truth.
Yeah, and it needs to be, because we can't show up as anybody else. And that's why and when people have this fear of putting things out, which it took me a long time to even get to this point, but when people have fear of putting things out there in the world, it's like, oh, well, I don't want to sound like somebody else, or there's so many other people already doing it. Like, should I even do it? And it's like, but there is somebody out there that needs the way you're going to show up and do it. Right.
Yeah.
We're not going to be for everybody. And, there's somebody out there that needs to hear and see you show up in a way that's going to relate to them and resonate with them. Like, even when Yvonne was younger and going through different things, and I would tell her, I was like, this adversity that you're experiencing, it's not for you. Like, it's like you go through it, but it's for the person that needs to hear your story.
Yeah.
To see your strength through it. That's someone that they can look at and say, I relate to this person. And no one else could have, like, someone else, like, how you could tell your kids something, but then their friends can tell them the exact same thing, and then they get it and it clicks.
Right, exactly.
Or like, as their mom, you can tell them they don't get it, but let them go talk to their nana or their auntie, and then they be like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's exactly what I was telling you, but you didn't want to hear what I had to say, right. Because sometimes you need to deliver it from a different person. So that's why it's important that we all are living our own truth and showing up in our own way, because there's someone that needs you to show up like that, right? It's not saying that you have to have a podcast and a business doing this or be a counselor. It's just the interaction that you have with people, and they need to hear that, oh dang, like, I think was it in silence when we're talking about like dang, you really get me, like, you know what I'm saying, just sitting back and listening, like, so that whole sense of belonging. And we think that in order to belong to a tribe or a community or a group, that we all have to look the same, act the same, wear the same things, have the same goals. And that's not really true. Like, to have we talked about this in a DEI training, to really have a sense of belonging means that you're allowing people to be themselves and to show up, and you're creating space for them to have their own personal experiences and to hear someone's story and understand why they are the way that they are, show up in the way that they do. So I don't know. It's just,
showing up in the way that they do. Yes. And making space for that. Love this topic.
Yes.
The power of your truth.
Thomas wheels are turning. I can see it, y'all. If y'all listening, y'all can't see it.
I know, but so much to be spoken here. Spoken truth, how you walk in your truth, owning it, also living out what's inside of you. The internal pieces of that. Yeah.
Just giving people, like, through your own truth, giving people the power to show up and live in theirs.
Yeah, love this topic so much.
You mentioned belonging, and I was thinking about, that was one of the books that we read together.
Yeah, we did. I love that book. I'm looking at it now. It's on my bookcase. I
have mine on my Kindle.
Yes, I love that book. Yeah, it's illustrated very well, but also brings out the key points of belonging and belong. I love it. I listened to it and I read it. So I've essentially read it twice. Really, really good. Yeah. Great stuff, ladies.
So any final words of wisdom, encouragement, or advice?
I would say follow your heart and your intuition. Silence yourself in a way where you can hear your truth, because your truth is inside of you.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say something along those same lines, Shauna. Just, when it resonates with you, if it makes you happy deep down, and you bring it forth, and you kind of know where you are in that. Of course, there's always still work to do, but you know where you are in your truth, and it makes you feel good no matter what else is going on. You could be an example for others too. I'll add that on, because if people see that you're walking and talking and speaking in your truth, the more you'll surround yourself with people who are doing the same.
Yeah, I agree. And I would just say, like, just ask yourself, like, it sounds like a cliche or simple question that I'm sure we all heard before, but like, if money, time, other people's opinions, and all these things weren't a factor, who would you be? Would you be the person that you are now? And maybe in some areas you would, in some areas you wouldn't. And those are the areas that you really need to dive deeper in and investigate. Like, Why am I seeking somebody else's approval? Why did I go and ask this person, what do you think? Should I do this? Should I do that? And it goes back to getting silent. Sometimes when you have an idea or a feeling about doing something, you don't need to go ask 50 people. You need to sit with it yourself and think about it and meditate on it. What are my motives behind it? What are my intentions? Why do I want to do this? Am I doing this for somebody else? So just really asking yourself, if money, time, and other people's opinions did not matter to you, or they weren't a factor, how would you show up for yourself?
Yeah. I think that's a great question for our heartbeats. Throw that out there. How would you show up for yourself if all those things weren't there for you? So I would say we'll leave them with that, and we'd love to hear your responses. So to reply to our emails, a nice plug for the email again, join our email list. The first folks to get the episodes are the folks on the email list. Of course, we're on social media as well. I'll let Shauna cover that, but yeah, join our email list. And it is, yeah.
I think this is a question I think we're going to take back to the ladies in our membership group and just maybe have a conversation with them and give them some space to just share their thoughts about it.
I love that idea.
Comes out.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Shauna, take us out. Yes.
Find us on YouTube, Twitter, IG. Of course, our
Facebook.
Facebook. You're live streaming like whatever podcast you listen to, like Apple, Spotify platforms. Where else are we?
We're on 8 different streaming sites right now.
Yes.
So we're in. You can listen to us anywhere.
That is really amazing. You can find
YouTube.
Yes,
if you want to watch us, you can see us on YouTube. But again, join the mailing list because you get the early news, you get all the information ahead of time. And we appreciate you here. We love you, Heartbeats. Thank you so much. Please come next week and every week, everybody, because it's going to be Fuego, baby. Come back.
Love it.
It's Fuego, baby, living in her truth. Bye,
That's
ladies.
right. That's right. Thank you, ladies. Bye.